Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Animal Kingdom. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So first and foremost, let's start off with the past stuff. I mention it every time, and I'm just going to reiterate it yet again. It just seems like no matter what, all Smurf ever does is try and push her kids away from, stuff might not work for you, but it's like, right, you don't want your kids to have their own path. Whatever path in life they choose, it has to be yours. Like, I don't ever feel like it's 100% altruistic. Like, everything with, Julia this episode, like, I feel like that was all for the purpose of, no, I'm going to get you, more on my side. It's about making you see things my way. It's kind of my way or the highway, and I'm just going to force you into the position I want you to. Because it's so interesting, because she was having that conversation with Pope, because Pope went, like, while he's doing a community service that was, like, outside of a church or near a church, and he went in, and the priest kind of talked to him a little bit, and, which immediately, I won't lie to you, I saw the priest, immediately I'm like, I hope this ain't one of those, like, diddlers. I hope it's not one of those situations. That's the Catholic Church has got that, like, that negative connotation with, like, priest. Like, you can't just assume every priest is a one, but you can't help, but it's always going to be in the back of your mind, like, is that what's going to happen with Pope's story? Because Pope's story is jacked up enough for it to be like, oh, he befriends a priest. It turns out that priest is a child diddler, and you're like, okay. Yeah, and then, like, Pope is going to have to beat the crap out of him. And then it's also just going to prove his mom's point of, like, oh, it's just filled with perverts and people who are just trying to take advantage of you. I forgot the exact wording she said, but the moment she said, I was like, are you not just doing the exact same thing to Julia? It's like, it's people making, what was it she said? Like, basically people making you believe what they say or something like that. It was, I'm paraphrasing and I'm losing some of the nuance to it, but I was like, You literally just did the same thing to Julia this episode. You're a hypocrite. That it's like, right, she doesn't want her children to find anything outside of, like, maybe on some level she does believe, like, oh, I'm doing the motherly thing. I'm putting them on the right path. I'm trying to make them successful in life. Julia tries to go off and have her own job, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna save up my money, and I'm gonna buy my own car, and then I can go wherever I want. And then Andrew was like, oh man, I think that's good for her. And what did she say? Just keep eating your food. Because she can't let go of an ounce of control. Because I think in a twisted way, her family is the only love she can get in this world. And even if she has to force them, it's like, you will comply to what I want, because I don't want you slipping away from me, because that's the only love she really has in this world. And she's kind of latched onto it so much that it's like, right, you love something so much, you are literally going to strangle it. And she did that to all of them. And it led to the long list of issues, because what she considered love ended up being such a large detriment to all of them. But yeah, with Julia, Julia wants to work her job. And what does her mom do? She shows up there, and what does she do? She sabotages it. She's like, oh, do you really, like, the amount of money you're going to take, like, oh, take out, like, taxes and Social Security, you'll be able to buy, like, you a very rinky-dink car in about, I don't know, a year. And then, like, the thing that's on the clothes and make it so, like, yeah, you try to steal the clothes, like, an ink blot will, like, ink thing will pop, and she kind of pops that thing off and seeing, like, see how easy it is? Come on. So here's a car. Hey, let's take it for a test drive, and she's enjoying it. I'm like, that's what your mom's doing. She's like, ooh, luring you back in. She's like, you have fun? You want the car? It's like, yeah. The moment her mom said that, I was like, there's a catch. There's always a catch with Smurfs. So what's the catch? And she's like, okay, so the catch is, I was like, your mom wants you to quit your job, isn't it? But it's like, no. It's, this car's, it's worth like $100,000 and it's stolen. And she's like, mom, but she's like, oh, you immediately clocked it as stolen the moment it rolled up, Julia, but you still got it anyway. So she's kind of calling her a hypocrite. So it's like, yeah, just kind of like, quit that stupid job of yours. You want the car? It's yours. And so they get high and everything. And so what happens? It's like, oh, Julia's so happy. She's like, oh, you're the best, mom. And even later on when she's talking to Andrew, Pope's like, you know, wait, that car's yours? And she's like, yeah, it's ours. So it's like, mom, it's like, but Smurf got it for you. And he's like, yeah. She's like, she might be a bitch sometimes, but still, it's like, you were just complaining about her last episode, and now Pope's like, wait, now you're all happy and fine with it now that you're getting something out of it. But even he kind of recognizes, like, mom doesn't do anything for, like, even he, I think, is kind of seeing, like, mom's manipulating you. You hate her in 1 minute, but then, like, you're so happy to receive her gifts the next. So, And it's just kind of like whatever, because I think he sees the hypocrisy in like her stance. Because I think it's like, it's more than just like, wait, you guys forgot about me. It's like she keeps like ricocheting back and forth between her kids, and they're both kind of recognizing like, right, everything's good with Julia, so what does she do? She bounces back over to Pope, and then she closes the door, because Julia's almost like, okay, I guess you're done giving me any attention. Like, I think maybe for a moment she's like, right, I thought for a moment, just one moment, Mom might pick me. It's the jacked up thing that her kids are doing everything to get her attention. It's like, right, I'll do what you say, just like pay attention to me. And so, like, once again, Pope is like, oh yeah, like the priest at the church, he seemed nice, but she's like, yeah, you just need your family. And it's like, okay. So once again, she even told him last episode, don't talk to anybody, never talk to anybody. So once again, we see where Pope kind of bottles so much stuff up. So I don't know, the whole situation kind of rubs you the wrong way. Because we got a little bit hearing about, because the person Jay went to get those earrings to at first was like, yo, your mom actually brought me like something like this. She, she brought me one, and I kind of paired it with something else. And he was like, yeah, I'm sure that was just enough to get a little bit of drugs or something like that. You're like, oh. Like, sad thing is, like, Jay's probably only ever really known his mom. I don't know if he's ever known his mom sober. Because there was that point, was it last season or the season before last, he kept a picture of his mom. He saw his mom. I think it was his mom when she was like younger and probably happier before she got addicted to drugs. And it's like, right, we still don't know what pushed her to that. I'm assuming it's Smurf. I wonder what I'm assuming it's got to come up sooner or later. That I was almost thinking Pope was going to be like, she lied, right? And Julie would be like, what? You didn't get expelled. They actually want you to stay. Well, but Pope wouldn't know that. I would have figured someone would, because I'm assuming someone from that school is going to drop by. It's like, no, wait, you haven't showed up again. She's like, what? I thought I got kicked out. It's like, no, I expressly told your mom, and then she's going to find out Smurf is completely full of shit. Like, it has to happen. I think it's that back and forth of just kind of like, oh, like Smurf is doing something for you, pulling you in, making you seem like everything's okay. You got to go her way with things. That I just think sooner or later, like, someone from the school is going to pop up, because they were like, expecting Julia being back, but because she was never like officially cut out of the school, because who knows how old, because once again, you can officially drop out of school when you're like 16. They might not be that old yet. They might be. They might be like 16 or 17 at this point in time. Maybe, I don't know. But it might be like, some of those people are like, oh my God, Julia has promised. So like the vice principal or whatever someone might send someone over just to check on her. And that might be how Julia finds out. Or maybe she never does. I just feel like that's such a point that they go back to, even in the intro when they're recapping stuff, that I feel like it's got to be a prominent moment. Like, that's Julia's going to find out the truth that her mom lied about it. And once again, showing is like, right, you are a liar. You manipulated me. You lied to me. For what reason? Other than just to control me. So we'll see where things kind of go on that front. But my point before going on that diatribe is just like, it's sad that like Jay probably never, at least at the very least, he's probably not old enough to remember his mom. He probably wasn't old enough to remember his mom before she potentially got addicted to drugs and stuff. He probably just remembers the bad times. He probably remembers some of the good times, but a lot of that gets subsided, and it's just like, I don't think Smurf ever really took responsibility for everything with Julia, which is kind of, I think, even more heartbreaking, but still. So present day, they ended up selling off quite a bit of Gia stuff, except for their diamonds, because, well, those diamonds were already stolen. You try and sell those anywhere. For one, people will find out, oh, that's Gia stuff that was stolen, trace it back, that's an issue. But also, they were stolen from someone else, so there's probably police reports out there, so, like, that's going to be there's twofold issues with that. So, are you going to sit on the diamonds? Jay tries to go sell them to some guy named Eddie, and Eddie's brother's the one who kind of checks stuff, but Eddie's brother being like, oh yeah, everything's okay. I was like, whoa, we know these diamonds are like fishy, but Eddie's brother was like, yo, don't ever come back here. But it's like, right, he made sure everything went by no issue. So Jay is like, okay, we could use this to our advantage. We can make it so that we could turn these brothers against each other. And in that moment, I love it where Darren's like, wait, you really think a brother would turn against the other? He's like, yeah. I mean, I think, but Jay's thinking in this particular case, but Darren's thinking like, right, if he's not careful, he could end up ostracizing Craig, and Craig could be an issue in the future. It's like, I mean, obviously it's tying back in, but like Catherine kind of, so like now, I don't think Darren would be in that position. I mean, Craig would be in that position, but the thing, well, because also, I mean, Darren himself's been in that situation with the whole Adrian whole situation as well. Because I mean, him and Pope have been in that situation. The only difference is Darren never pulled the trigger when it came to Pope. I mean, when it came to Adrian, Pope pulled the trigger when it came to Catherine. Because I think, if I do correct me in the comments, wasn't he actually secretly in love with Catherine or something like that? I think he was, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. I kind of feel like there was something there. Either they had a special bond, or he was like secretly in love with her. I don't remember. It's been a while. Either way, because Craig's going through everything. He's hanging around his biker friend he met last episode, Vince, which him and apparently Vince's ex banged out. He's like, dude, I just banged your ex and you're really okay with it? He's like, yeah, but we're co-parenting. Granted, she does more of the co-parenting aspect of it. And so he went to go see Ren. That ended up being a whole debacle, which I'm still like, I'm not convinced Ren isn't doing some stuff. I mean, she was kind of wilding out last season, kind of what she was up to. So that's why I'm getting the feeling like it's probably not that clear cut and dry. But I mean, the way Craig's not handling it the best way, he's so desperate to get Ren, more specifically his son, back. I mean, it's not like he's trying to win. He's only trying to win Ren back in the regard of, oh, I want you to trust me to be alone with our son. Like, I don't even know if he wants to be back with Ren. I mean, considering you just like hooked up with apparently Vincent's ex and just banged it out, but I don't know. He definitely wants Nick back, and he doesn't want to just be in this, visits where like I have to be accompanied and be viewed and stuff like that. So I don't know what Craig. I mean, beyond Nikki, I don't know if he wants Ren back or not. But yeah, the way he handled things this episode sure as hell didn't work out. But it is interesting that like Ren does, like, it's like, oh, this is supposed to be Craig's time, and she kind of cancels. So that's where you kind of feel like, okay, just probably because like some stuff she probably shouldn't be up to. She's probably up to. Not unless Ren ends up being that kind of linchpin. It'd be interesting. It'd make it all full circle if like SOs all across the board end up being the ones. I mean, because even Jay kind of went through it with the whole Mia situation. But I mean, those were different circumstances. But was it her brother or was it her cousin? Or her ex or whatever. The dude that like everything that went down in season 4. I'm trying to remember. Like, Mia turned against Jay, so it's like they've all kind of been through that situation of like your significant other being used against you or deciding to go against you. So Ren could potentially be in that spot where she can kind of turn against Darren, maybe, and then turning against Darren could lead to Darren potentially turning against the rest of the family. God knows, who knows? Because they touched on the Adrian stuff last season, and I'm curious, will that pop up again, or is that door kind of closed now? Because obviously, like, Adrian's sister was kind of getting money from Darren and such. So we'll see whether there's any more with that this season. Because that's another string that can get pulled. Like, there's a lot of destruction that Cody's have left in their wake that can be used to be their demise. So we'll see how it all plays out. But Craig kind of broke his sobriety, and Darren, I think, was almost kind of like, okay, cool, do whatever you want to, bro, and kind of, because once again, he wants Craig to be kind of drunk, because it's like, when you're drunk and you're high, you're more fun, which even Craig's like, yo, my brothers, everyone wants, my mom wanted me hot, like me better with, like, when I was drunk and high. I think maybe it probably made him more fun, and, with, like, Smurfs, like, party mentality, living life the way she did and everything, but also then probably, made it probably easier to control Craig type of situation. I don't know. Yeah, like, I think that's going to be a really important thing, like, the fact is Darren's even asking that, like, oh, would a brother really turn against a brother? It's like, so we'll see how that plays out. Vince does kind of play, I think, more of that supporting role that Craig's not getting anywhere else, where he was like kind of laying into that minigun while he was hanging out with Vince. So, because Vince is trying to keep him on a straight and narrow, just being like, right, those eyes are looking pretty red. So it's like, yeah, give you something else to focus on instead of like drinking or getting high. So we'll see. Other than that, you had Pope scaring people away from his rank, because it's like, yo, I'm Ramp. It's like, I'm not making this for other people. This is just for me. It's kind of his project to work on, to clear his mind, do something like, it's meant for him. It's cathartic all around. That's like the main purpose of it. But him and Darren go handle the whole Quinn situation. It's like, yeah, something Craig should have handled, but he didn't. And this is the last stayover at this place that they're trying to sell. But he doesn't want to leave, because it's like, yeah, I've done stuff for Smurf, so Smurf helped me out by getting here, because he's a vet. And he's like, yeah, like things kind of didn't go well. He's like, I think he said he was in Afghanistan for like 48 hours before his head got really messed up or something like that. So Pope is the one that kind of felt bad for him. And I'm curious, is it because Pope kind of felt like, right, because he knows what it's like to kind of not all be 100% there when it comes to your head. Like, he has kind of been a little off himself for a long time, so maybe he wanted to actually do right by Quinn. So I thought they were going to like, oh, is he going to move into Craig's place? Because Craig doesn't want to live at his place currently. But it's like, no, they moved him, surfboard dude, who asked Darren to kick those other guys out. It's like, right, can he live in the back of your place? And it's like, he's like, what's wrong with him? And Darren's like, nothing. And you're like, okay, the fact is you're not telling him either. That's going to become an issue later on when Home Dude pops off, because maybe he's the one that's going to pop off, like, because those kids, it seemed like they quieted down, but they start making noise again. Quinn's probably going to pop off on him, and that's going to be a whole issue. We'll see. So there's all of that. But at the end of it all, Pope came back, and there's a whole bunch of other kids like skating on his ramp, but he doesn't fight anymore. He just kind of like goes with the flow of it. So I think that's kind of him just letting his guard go down. It's like, right, what this means to me, let it mean that for some other people. Like, I wish I had someone there to kind of hold my hand instead of my mom being there whispering in my ears and pushing me down a certain path. It's like, right, maybe if this can help them in any way, like it's helping me, or like it helped me in the past, then more power to him. So maybe that's all that's in Pope's head, just kind of letting that all go. So, but at the same time, like I brought up before, you have Jay wanting to rob that Eddie dude. They just gotta figure things out and potentially get his brother on their side. But all the while that's happening, we're finally getting into the Catherine investigation. But it's a police officer. She's an agent from some other thing. She's kind of been moved to Code Cases, and it seems like she just happens to take. I was like, oh, I thought she was coming into this to purposely work the Cody case, but it's like, no, she just happened to pick Catherine's case, and she starts digging deeper, and then she finds out like everyone knows who did it. It's like, who's at the center of all this? The Codys, but everyone's like, oh, Baz is the one that did it. It's like, well, what about it? It's like, well, Baz is dead now too. Well, who killed Baz? I was like, well, his grandmother. I mean, his mom, who is now dead. So obviously she's digging deeper and deeper into the files, feeling like, yeah, something is not right. It was just too, like, everyone was very just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Everyone knows not to mess with the Codys, and they just kind of left it as is. It's like, oh, Baz was an easy fall guy. Sure. Who killed Baz? Which, to be fair, they're not wrong. His mother was responsible, granted. I mean, that's also the complicated thing. The person that killed him was Mia, but Mia's dead because Jay killed her not last season, season 4. So Baz's killer is dead, but also the one who called out the hit on Baz, his own mother, is dead too. So, and the person who wanted Catherine dead is dead too. But that being Smurf. But then also, like, Pope is still the one who pulled the trigger. So that cop, she goes to visit Lena later, and it's like, right, you were with your dad and mom. Who else was with you? Uncle Pope. And you're like, yeah, okay, that's interesting. I think this is the first time we've seen Lena since she got adopted. Well, since they left, because I think that was, I don't remember whose decision that was. Because you remember Smurf was trying all that because it's like, oh, that's my grandbaby, so of course I'm going to hold on to her. Once again, kind of always showing that Smurf has always been like that. I mean, even before we got to know about her past, even over the course of the show, just knowing the Smurf that we knew present day, she's always been the one that's like, yeah, family is mine and I'm not going to let it go. I think, because Pope was trying to do the right thing and look after Lena for Catherine, but it didn't work out. So wasn't he the one that kind of pushed more so for her to get adopted? Because she was just, I don't know. I don't remember as clearly how that whole situation played. I want to say, like, Andrew visited her once before, and he was going to get her before, but he saw how happy she was, and it's like, right, I don't want her near, like, I mean, yes, the guilt over, like, yeah, I'm the one who killed your mom, like, you already lost your dad, now you also lost your mom, and it's like, I don't want to, like, you being around our family is bad, like, especially, he knows how bad his mom can get, so it's like, right, I don't want you to, like, my mom to turn, he doesn't want his mom to turn, I mean, we already saw what she was doing to Jay, to the child of one of her other children, so it's like, you saw what she did to Julia, what she's doing to Jay now, and he's like, he didn't want history to keep repeating like that. She was always going to be a means to an end, just kind of another, toy for her to dress up, essentially. So we'll see where things kind of take us going forward into the next episode, because episode 4 also dropped as well. I guess they're going to just burn through this final season, be like two episodes a week. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.